If you go to your Bibles, open them up to Matthew's Gospel, chapter 15. Chapter 15. We're going to be starting in verse 21. Starting in verse 21. You know, when I first was saved and I was going to church, Mace, I know exactly how Joe felt like. You know, to get up there and share your heart and where you've been, it's not easy. Even though you talk about it constantly with your group of people and with your family and with all that stuff, right? We're just constantly talking to our group, but then when you stand up in front of people, it hits a little bit different. But remember what I teach you guys in here all the time. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb in the power of our testimony in the book of Revelation. If you don't share your testimony and you are a child of God, you have taken all power that Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection put into your life out. He didn't save you to be silent. He didn't heal you to be quiet. He saved you to be loud. He healed you to tell people where you've been. Joe, I love you. I'm proud of you. You know, some people think he's just up there talking. Man, when you're getting the heck beat out of you by somebody that's supposed to love you. And the fact that he's alive today, praising Jesus. If you've got good parents, if you've had good parents, you should thank Jesus for the parents that you have. Because there's some of us that haven't had the best. And there's some of us that have had the worst. But God comes after every single one of us, if you're just willing to listen. I love to tell my testimony. And all of y'all could close your eyes and write it down for me. You've heard it so much. I was a drug addict. I had a broken marriage. I was the worst father, but Jesus saved me. He healed me. He set me back together. My marriage was so broken, I didn't know if we were going to make it. He made it better than it ever was before. I couldn't stand going to the church that I went to. I couldn't stand any part of it. And He gave me a church that not only are we a part of, but that we absolutely love and adore. We've got to get this mentality, family. We've got to get this mentality that you are your daddy's son or daughter. And I'm not talking about your dad that gave you life here on earth. I'm talking about your daddy that lives up in heaven. This story that we're about to go off of, I've never preached on before. And I'll be real honest with you. The reason I've never preached on it before is when I first heard of it 13 years ago, I struggled with it mightily. I really struggled with it. And if y'all can read it and just get it, God bless you. But this story has challenged me my entire Christian life. But God has allowed me, Chad, to have the spiritual lens that I have today so that I can rightly decipher this whole story. I want you guys and ladies and girls to listen intently to what we're about to talk in here this morning. We have to really pay attention, because if we're not paying attention, we're going to miss the point and we're going to live our lives thinking that Jesus said something that He really wasn't saying. I had a conversation with a man this week who said, hey, I watched another video online of another preacher and he was talking about this. Tell me what you think about it. And I told that man, I was like, man, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, because that's really what I need to preach on this week. This is awesome, but it's challenging. Matthew chapter 15. Matthew chapter 15. Andrew, thank you for putting the work in to put it up on the screen. Starting in verse 21. Everyone there? We're not in a small church. Is everyone there? Yes. Thank you. We can be loud in here. Just ask the kids. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre, and if I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him crying out, Lord, Son of God, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly. Parents, can we get an amen with that one? I'll be honest with you, Elisha, she turns 2 in about 2 weeks. Terrible twos has hit us with a vengeance. And she's a great kid, buddy, but sometimes she just wants to hold you. All day long. All day long. So we know exactly what this lady's talking about. She said, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly. Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came to him and urged him, send her away, for she keeps crying out after us. He answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. The woman came and knelt before him. Lord, help me, she said. He replied, it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs. Yes, it is, Lord, she said. Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fell from their master's table. Then Jesus said to her, Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted, and her daughter was healed at that moment. Did that joker just call that woman a dog? I'm with you, J-Mo. When I read that, I think, Jesus, you just called that woman a dog. And even into today, 2020, you call a girl a dog, and that dog will come biting. If not, her brother's better. I read this, y'all, and I've read it many times, Harper, and I've thought to myself, he called her a dog to her face. And he basically told her, you're not good enough for me to even look at. This is the things that I read when I first read this story, y'all. I thought, man, Jesus is gangster as he could be, because he just told this lady, you're a dog, and you are not even worth looking at. And on top of that, the disciples said, tell her to go away. She's bothering us. Tori, I lived my life thinking that the preachers wanted me to go away because I was bothering with my questions. I lived my life thinking that I didn't live good enough, and Jesus looked at me as just a dog that he would throw a crumb to every now and again because I really didn't deserve a full meal. I lived my life thinking that Jesus didn't even really want to look at me because of where I've been, what I've done, what I've said, and what I've thought. Anyone else with me? Anyone else with me? And I thought, and I have heard the preachers preach, just as long as I get a crumb from the master's table, I'll be okay. And you know what? That's true. But I got a little crumb on June 27th, 2007 when I was saved by the grace of God. But God did not just give me a crumb to bring me into heaven. He has offered me an entire buffet like the Golden Corral, or when you go to Panama City, you go to Captain Anderson's for $48.99. You can go up there with all the crab legs you want to get and all the saliva from all the kids drooling all over the food. And he says, I've got an entire buffet waiting for you, but you are still looking for crumbs. And I said, buffet. That's how I talk. Religion loves this verse. Old school preachers love this verse. They love to make you think that you are not worthy to sit at God's table. Go to Psalms 23. That was in the Old Testament. He'll prepare a table in the midst of your own enemies. And your enemies, you remember this one, Pastor, don't you? Your own enemies are going to have to eat. You're going to eat, and they're going to have to sit there and watch you eat what God has given you. But yet, religion has us thinking that Jesus looks at us like dogs. I want to give you all a little bit of historical reference. Tyre in Sidon is present-day Lebanon. Y'all with me? Present-day Lebanon is where that is. If you rewind, me and Sasha always talk about how, hey, you older people like me and Sasha, you know you're old, Alicia, when Sasha said, did they have to put my age on the race? What's that thing called, a bib? The racer's bib. It said Sasha Tipper, female, 31, 37. Hey, man, she's 37, smoking hot. I'm like, you should be proud of that. You should just walk around. I said, if I was you, I'd walk around like a peacock all the time, just looking like this, saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. For those of y'all that don't know me, I am smitten with my wife. I hope you are as smitten as I am, but not with mine, but with yours. But here we go. That's going to go online. I'm sorry. All right. Modern day Lebanon. Y'all with me, okay? Go hit the rewind button. Y'all remember Please Be Kind, rewind? You go to the video store, they had that extra fast one. They charge you $1.50. You rewind, go to the Old Testament. Tyre and Sidon is where Jezebel was ruling and reigning. Jezebel, she was that woman, that demon-possessed, devilish woman that had the people of God start to worship the demon Baal. B-A-A-L. You with me? The demon Baal required self-mutilation, cutting, and required child sacrifice, and required prostitution of females and males. So when you think of Jezebel and you think of the prophet of Baal, it wasn't good. Fast forward into the story that we're in now. The Jewish people and the Israelites cannot stand anyone that is from Canaan. They're called Canaanites because that was where Jezebel was ruling. Is everyone with me? So this woman was a Canaanite woman. You see it? It says a Canaanite woman. She was not Jewish. She was not Israeli. She was from the region of Jezebel. She probably worshiped false gods. She probably had done some things that she shouldn't have done. Is everyone with me? You say, where's that at in the Bible? Read and comprehend. You know what I mean? Just take the historical thing and comprehend. So this woman, here we are again, Joe. Here we are again, Keisha. We're at another story of Jesus talking to a woman who he shouldn't be talking to, except this time he reacts the way that we think he should react. A Canaanite woman from the vicinity came to him crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." Here's the other thing, Peyton and Caroline, is that again we're at a story with a mother who has something wrong with a child, a parent that has something wrong with a child, that I would venture to say has gone to great lengths to get their children healed and right. I have had Witten, when Witten was, how old was he, Mama? I forget how, he had mono. How old was he? Witten was 2, and he had mono. Kissing on girls already. I don't know what happened to him. He was 2 and had mono. And we went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "I don't mean to alarm you, Children's Health Care up there on Riverstone Parkway. I don't mean to alarm you, but his white blood cell count's at 40,000. And I'm not a medical professional like my wife is." I said, "Okay, fine. What does that mean?" He said, "A lot of times it means leukemia." You remember this one, Jimmy? And I said, a parent, you hear leukemia, you flip out. I don't care how saved you are. So they said, "We are going to call down to Atlanta. Y'all need to take him now," yada, yada, yada. And it was absolute hell because he flipped out. He's calm as he can be now. He flipped out, and it took him 2.5 hours just to get an IV in him. All right, we had to go into a dark room and everything like that. Thank God it was only mono. Sasha and I would have sold our house and everything we had, and I would have sold your car if I could have had enough money. If I could have had enough money to pay for my son to be healed. Amen. Imagine if my son or my daughters are demon possessed and they're climbing walls and their heads spinning around with green pea soup and they've got all kinds of stuff. Y'all understand, if your daughter's demon possessed, what wouldn't you do to get that child healed? So that woman, knowing she's not supposed to talk to the Jewish people, again, another story, she's not supposed to come to Jesus. And she, just like every other parent that's ever been absolutely at their wits' end, "Lord, Son of God, have mercy on me." They didn't put an exclamation point there because of anything other than to accentuate she was desperate. Jesus did not answer a word. Man, I got to be honest with you. When I read that and I think Jesus did not answer a word, I'm like, come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. You know exactly what the daughter's going through. You know exactly who that mom is. How can you just... Anyone ever felt like you needed something so bad, and every time you talk to Jesus, he just... Let's not be religious in here, family. Let's be honest. You ever prayed and you felt like God just put his head down and he wasn't listening? You ever felt like, man, I've got problems in my life and you just don't... Jesus, just look at me because I know one look will change everything. Jesus, will you look? All she wanted was a look, Tori. So his disciples came to him and urged him, send her away, for she's bothering us. Here's where we get into brass tacks, saved people, children of God. How many times has someone said, hey, will you pray for this, pray for that? Joe makes me mad sometimes on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, and here's why, David. Because someone will say a prayer request, and I'm trying to talk to him, and he's got his eyes closed. And I said, why do you have to pray right then? Why do you have to pray right then for them to... Other people are still talking. He said, because I know me, I'm not smart enough, and if I don't pray right away, I'm going to forget. How many of y'all, Christian people, children of God, preachers, have said, hey man, I need you to pray for my wife, and you just blew it off? I've done it. It's not that you blew it off because you don't care, it's just we get busy. Man, you want me to pray for your wife's foot? I can't pay my mortgage. I'm sorry she's got a bunion, but y'all use soap. Y'all know what I'm saying. And we do like Jesus did. So don't get mad at Jesus in the story, because if you're saved, you are a representative of Jesus. You just look away. And how many times, children of God, how many times, church people, how many times, Hope Springs, has somebody come up and they say, man, they've got this going on, Chad, they got that going on. And you just say, man, y'all are annoying. Y'all don't even go to church, but you're using God's name. You only show up to FCA because Chick-fil-A is good. You only go to FCA in the morning because you want everyone to think that you're a child of God. Fill in the blank. Hey, Keisha. Fill in the blank, y'all. We've all done it. We've said, I go to church and do this, that, and the other, and you don't do anything, so you're bothering me. God, send them away. I just came to stomp on some toes this morning because, man, my toes are sore, Patrick. Y'all thought y'all ran hard yesterday. I'm reading this, and he's just stomping all over my toes because I can't tell you the times as a pastor of this place that people, y'all have come to me with some stuff, and I'm like, good Lord, man, just take a deep breath. Man, just pray. You know what I mean? But how many times have we just blown people off? Here's the difference. Here's the other thing. And I'm getting there. I know we got flag football to go to, girls. Don't worry. We won't miss it. But we are not going to go so fast that the Holy Ghost can't do what he's supposed to do. He answered, this is Jesus, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Do y'all know what he's talking about right there? Man, I missed this, Chad, for a long time. Jesus is messing with the religious people. Old Testament, go left. God's people were who? The Jewish Israeli people. Y'all with me? God's people were the Jewish Israeli people. So all the miracles were happening with the Jewish people. Everything was about the Jews, right? And then the Jews, thinking that they're just all that and a bag of chips, think that in the New Testament that God looks at it the same way. Well, I hate to tell you, Jesus came. He came with a new covenant and a new person. And Jesus came and said, even though y'all think that the Jews are the only one that God cares about, I'm here to show you that you are about to get rocked with. Go throughout all of the New Testament and look how many times Jesus healed somebody that wasn't Jewish. And then look at the times that Jesus went and did something for somebody that was of the covenant of the Jews. Y'all with me? So he says to them, because remember, there's always a crowd around Jesus. There's always a crowd. So Jesus isn't only speaking to the woman, he's speaking to the crowd. He said, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Imagine this. First, he blows her off, Patrick. Second, the disciples say, send her away. Third, he says, I'm not even supposed to help you. And then look at what the woman did. We've all got to get to this point. We've all got to get to this point. I did this a couple of months ago. We've all got to get to this point, Henley. Have you ever felt like, raise your hand if you felt like God hasn't heard you. Raise two hands if you feel like God's not listening. You ever felt like that recently? Do you notice what the woman did? Do you notice what the woman did? The woman came and knelt before him and said, Lord, help me. In the South, we say that all the time. We say, Lord, help. Jesus, help. Lord, help. Lord, help. He looked away from her. He was shunned by the people around him. And he said, I'm not for you. Y'all with me? And what'd she do, Jimmy? She said, Lord, help me. Help me. My kid's possessed of a demon. I don't have any money. I know that you can't look at me. I know that I'm not of the right lineage. I know I don't have enough money. I know that I'm Canaanite, but help me. Help me. By that point, knowing Jesus the way that we do, we think Jesus would say, you're healed. But what happened? He replied, it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to dogs. Come on, Jesus. She's begging you, man. She's begging you. Remember, it's not always about you. The situation isn't always about you. It's about the people listening. So do you know why he said it's not right to take the children's bread and feed it to the dogs? Good. I'm going to tell you. The Jewish people called themselves children of God. Children's bread. You with me? Jesus is the bread of life. Why take the children, the Jewish bread of life away from them? Do you know what the Jews called people that weren't Jewish? Dogs. He's getting at the religious people, Mason. He's saying, you guys think that the Jews are the children of God and everyone else is dogs. You with me, Joe? But no, they're not dogs. She said, hey man, I love the boldness of this lady. Man, Kate, sometimes we just got to come boldly before the throne of grace. And she said, yes, it is. Yes, it is, Lord. She said, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Do you know what that woman was saying, David? She was saying, I am not Jewish. I am not a dog. I am a woman and a mother coming to you and just saying, one crumb will fix everything in my life. And then what does Jesus say to her? Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted. And her daughter was healed at that moment. I was talking to my mom this week. She said she really enjoyed the service last week, Joe. Good job, Joe and Taylor. She said, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. She said, you were calm. I was like, yeah. I said, Mom, it's because the microphone's right next to my mouth and I got to speak loud because the air conditioning's loud and the kids are loud. I'm just being loud this morning because I got to be honest with you. I went years misunderstanding what this whole story was about. I thought I was a dog. I thought that Jesus couldn't look at me. I thought that I wasn't from the right family. I thought that I didn't go to the right church. I was told that if I preached, I better wear a white shirt and a tie. Otherwise, I'm not of God. Guess what? I never saw a white shirt and a tie in the Old Testament or the New. But I saw God heal people. And I felt God heal me. And I don't give 1, 2, 3, or 4 rips what anyone thinks about how I dress inside of the house of God. Because I know that my daddy is infatuated with me. And I know that he loves me. And I know that he healed me. And I know that he set me apart. And I know that he gave me a family. He gave me a marriage. And he gave me a life worth having. And I am not going to sit around and be religious and talk about what you should and shouldn't do. And we are not dogs. We are not dogs. Hear me now. You think, well, God, no. I know you're dog people, man. You guys pay more for your dogs than I do my mortgage sometimes. I know you're dog people, but we are not dogs. And Jesus is not trying to give us crumbs. Jesus is offering us the entire meal. He wants us to have everything that heaven has to offer. But if we go into it thinking that we're dogs, Abram, we will never receive what God has intended for us. Is everyone with me? Jimmy always tells me that you know it's good and the Spirit's flowing when no one says anything. So it must be flowing good in here this morning. Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted. How's your faith this morning? How's your faith? How's your faith? Sometimes, Jameson and Asher, sometimes we have to get to our wits' end before we'll fall before the knees of Jesus, the feet of Jesus. There's a song that I like to listen to all the time, Henley. It's one of those songs that's 45 minutes long. Singing one song, they sing the same verses over and over, but they got all kinds of instruments. Most of y'all wouldn't like it, but I love it. It's kind of jam bandy-esque. And it says, if the highest place I ever reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. We try so hard in the corporate ladder to climb that thing. We try so hard in the daddy ladder to climb that thing. We try to have our marriages better than any other marriage. We try to have our kids dress better than any other kids. We try to have our teams win more than any other team. But the only place that you really should be reaching for is Jesus' feet. Because at Jesus' feet, you'll find salvation. At Jesus' feet, you'll find the bread of life. At Jesus' feet, you'll find a well that won't run dry. At Jesus' feet, the things that are afflicting you will be healed. At Jesus' feet, your marriage will be healed. At Jesus' feet, your prayer will be answered. At Jesus' feet, you'll get out of prison. At Jesus' feet, everything comes possible. What are you reaching for today? If you're reaching for something other than Jesus' feet, you're wrong. I have to teach my boys in here on Tuesday and Thursday morning, life and life more abundantly. Abundance is not money. Now, Jesus doesn't want anyone to be broke. But if all you're reaching for is money, you're wrong. If all you're reaching for is acclaim, you're wrong. But if you're reaching for the feet of Jesus because you have been like the Canaanite woman and said, Lord, I have this. Lord, I've done this. Lord, I need this. We've got all these names underneath this altar in here this morning. And I know a lot of y'all extremely personally well. Some people, I've heard stories of Jan and her awesome boys. I've heard stories from Ledford, although he called me up and said, you're a terrible coach and I want to kill you. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. He actually was the exact opposite. But I did pay him $50 to say it. I know y'all well. And I know well enough to know Jesus' feet, some of us really need to be climbing to. Because I have to climb there daily. You have to climb there daily. How many of y'all are like me and have people that are not yet Christians in your life, in your house, or in your orbit that you have been praying for? Hopefully it's all y'all. I'll be honest with you. When was the last time you reached for the feet of Jesus in the name of that person? When was the last time you went and said, Lord, I'm not a dog, and I know you love me, but I need you to save my son. Lord, I need you to save my grandson. Lord, I need you to heal this or heal that. Lord. And do you know how we reach the feet of Jesus, Peyton? You know, feet, some of y'all, feet, especially Israeli feet out there in the middle of the desert, it doesn't sound real fun to reach to. But let me tell you something. The only description of Jesus is in the book of Revelation. It says that his feet are shiny like brass. So when we're reaching for those feet, there's not dirt. There's not stank. There's not grime. There's nothing but heat-treated perfection just waiting to embrace us. As we stand to our feet, Taylor, come on up to the get fiddle. I don't know anybody's heart in here this morning. I don't know anyone's heart in here this morning. But I have a feeling. I have a feeling that there's some people in here that need to reach the feet of Jesus.